This is Locked On Bets, the daily betting show that means business from the Locked On Podcast Network. Hosted by Lee Sterling and Kevin Rogers, they're dropping fearless picks with an inside edge to put money in your pocket. If there's action, they've got the lock. This is where smart bets start. It's Locked On Bets.
Welcome to the Thursday edition of Locked On Bets. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports with you. And as always, we appreciate you making Locked On Bets your first listen of the day here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Very busy show today. A couple picks on the Ravens and the Dolphins in Miami as they get set for week 9 of the NFL. Also, short NBA card tonight. We have 2 selections there. So looking forward to that. And the World Series taking a day off, heading back to Toronto with the Blue Jays up 3-2. We'll talk about the tough loss of Blake Snell coming up in just a little bit. But Lee, let us begin with the Ravens and the Dolphins and tonight's Hidden Gem.
To find a diamond in the rough, you need to dig a little deeper for those hidden gems.
We begin with a player prop today, and Lamar Jackson back for the Ravens, so that'll help the offense, you would think. And Isaiah Likely, we'll see if he can get some yards. We'll see what he can do tonight. So, Lee, what do you like with Isaiah Likely and his prop tonight for the Ravens and the Dolphins?
All right, so the number is 21.5 receiving yards, minus 115. He has not played with Lamar yet this season, and he's one of his favorite targets. He looks for the guy. He is big. He is tall. He is fast and good hands. Very underrated. And behind the scenes, I'm hearing he has been complaining about targets. He can cover this on one reception, 21.5. I mean, he gets down the field here, and I think he gets a few targets and has a big game. As we know, Lamar is going to play, listed as probable. So this number is just way too low with Lamar coming back. And like I said, as far as the tight end, he loves him. So Isaiah Likely here over 21.5 receiving yards, minus 115 is going to be my hidden gem to start out on Thursday.
All right, and we do have a lock on the Ravens-Dolphins coming up in just a bit, so stay tuned for that. Looking back at our picks from last night, Lee, 2-1, and we're going to kind of go in reverse and start with the loser first. And I found this so interesting that if you watch the game last night, so first pitch out of the gate, Blue Jays hit a homer. Then Vlad Guerrero Jr., next batter, it's a homer. So 2-0 of Blue Jays right out of the gate on Blake Snell, who has been fantastic in the postseason, hasn't been great so far against Toronto. And you had Blake Snell's strikeout prop at 6.5, and you'd figure, okay, you're down 2-0 out of the gate. Toronto's leading the whole game, but Dave Roberts is keeping him in. And late in the game, Snell is still out there, a couple runners on, and you would think, okay, he's going to get pulled now. 116th pitch, gets that 7th strikeout. And you're thinking, how do you lose like that? Like that's a rough one to lose when he's losing. You shouldn't be in the game at that point, and you're at all these pitches about pitch counts, but no, we're going to keep that horse out there, and he finally gets to 7 after 116 pitches.
So he was all over the place, and mainly in the ground. I think he threw like 5 or 6 pitches in the last 2 innings that were in the ground that bounced, a couple of them even before the plate. So I thought he had lost it. Obviously, Dave Roberts felt he didn't have anyone better in the pen, so I thought we had handicapped it pretty well. Toronto fights off a lot of pitches and had the lead. I thought he was, gonna pull him in case you get to a game 7 and maybe you can put him in for a couple innings. But he's probably done now after throwing 117 pitches. So the kid's he's a battler. Like so, he was battling, but in most cases he would have been pulled. So. I just thought that he had definitely, wouldn't say lost it, but his control certainly had faltered the last 2 innings. But, Dave Roberts stuck with him, and Blue Jays won. We actually, if you follow us on Twitter at Paramount MLB, we gave out Toronto as a plus 170 underdog as a free play. So there's another account to follow besides just at Paramount Sports. So pretty good night for us.
Do you think the Dodgers are done?
I think so. Yeah. And sometimes teams, I before the series started, I'm like, okay, Dodgers are just too much pitching and hitting. Man for man, they're a better team. But sometimes the team is better than the individual parts. And I've seen it in sports. I played against teams that are like that. I'm like, how is this team beating us when we're more talented? They just play well together, and it looks like they're just having a lot of fun. So give them credit. Also, I think there was a stat that teams that sweep the opponent in one side or the other, they end up losing the World Series after a team goes 7 games in the other side. So you've seen that stat before, Kevin?
It was something like, I don't know if they were 4 or 5-0. Like, it wasn't a huge sample size, but I did see that, though. Yes, that you would think the team that's rested, all right, that they're going to be fresher. Where really the team that won in 7 has got more momentum going. And now what's interesting, too, is you flip this around, that the last series against the Mariners, the Blue Jays were down 3-2 with 2 at home, needing to win both. Now you're coming home 2 shots to win 1. So the Dodgers really put their backs against the wall here, and you're going to go with Yamamoto in Game 6, who was fantastic in Game 2, and then I guess you start Glass now in Game 7. You probably have Ohtani waiting in the wings if you need him, if you get to that point. But it's interesting. It definitely is interesting to see Toronto bounce back from that loss in Game 3 in the 18 innings.
One more thing. It reminded me of 1990, and the Oakland Athletics were going for a three-peat. Everyone thought they were going to win 4-0 or 4-1, and the Reds, the Cincinnati Reds, I think Chris Sabo, remember that name, had a incredible series, hit like 543, some crazy number. And Eric Davis was on that team, but I think he was good. I don't think he was great. I think he was maybe better defensively. But they ended up sweeping Oakland. And from what I heard, if I remember the story correct also, probably more gamblers ended up going to Gamblers Anonymous and ended up seeking help because they bet the farm on the Oakland A's. I didn't bet the series, but I can tell you this much. I bet you there's a lot of people that bet the Dodgers for the series and are going to be hurting if they lose.
Yeah, and look, the Dodgers have a lot of stars, but Toronto's really good too. And Savage was unbelievable last night at the 12 strikeouts. So we'll see if Toronto can do it again coming up on Friday night. Now, our winners, so we got the bad part out of the way with the loss. Now let's go to the winners from last night. And you had Missouri State against FIU, and it was a tie game, and Missouri State ended up pulling away and winning. And like we talked about yesterday, that Missouri State trying to get to that 6-win mark. You know, you want to be bowl eligible in your first year. And FIU has been competitive, but good win there for Missouri State, who beat Marshall earlier in the year. And it's coming together. I know Conference USA isn't good, but when you're coming up from FCS to FBS, they definitely made a lot of progress.
I thought the play calling was good for Missouri State. They don't have a whole lot of talent. Team to watch next year and the year after is going to be FIU. Willie Simmons, I thought, was the perfect hire for FIU. You know, he had coached a lot in colleges in the South and in Florida A&M, and I think he's going to do a good job recruiting. They're going to be able to keep most of their talent. They're never going to fill up that stadium. I think they said it seats like 25,000. But I think that they found the right guy. Sometimes, you know, you don't want to shoot for that guy. They've been going for guys like Butch Davis. And Butch Davis did a good job for a year or two, but couldn't sustain it and paid him a lot of money. I think Willie Simmons is the right guy, and he'll feel comfortable there. Not going to leave if he has a year where they go to a bowl, but there's so much talent down here. You just got to pick off. You can make 2 and 3 stars into 4 stars. I think he has a good coaching staff. Just don't have enough talent right now. So sometimes you watch a game and you're like, oh, okay, I won. They have some talent. They're just their best guys, wide receiver left. Their defensive line's good. And I think that's something to build on. You have a good defensive line, you're going to stay in games. So if you're one of those 4 FIU fans in the country, and I think there's 2 down here, there is a bright future ahead. And I've never said that about FIU before.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes moving forward with them. Now, our last game, we had the Celtics over the Cavaliers, and a kind of back and forth first quarter, and then Boston opened it up in the second quarter, and then they pretty much cruised from there. And I mean, I like the Celtics. Yesterday, I saw it was a good spot for them off the win over New Orleans, and obviously Cleveland's very good. They're dealing with some injuries, but Jaylen Brown, I mean, he's running the show now with Jason Tatum out, and he played very well in that game, and Boston is starting to come to life a little bit now.
Yeah. So, this is a team that well coached and has enough talent to get to the playoffs and win, more than half their games. So I think people sell them short when you're without your top player. But, the NBA, I mean, look at the Miami Heat to start off, and you're going to hit on that game. They're 3-1, and they should be 4-0 without Tyler Hero, and played the last game without Norman Powell. They've scored above 140 points in 2 games. So, just because you see a star player out doesn't mean a team can't win and cover.
Yeah, so NBA rolling along, had a lot of great finishes last night. The Lakers ended up beating the Timberwolves. Austin Reeves all of a sudden now carrying that Lakers team with LeBron and Luka out. He's played very well. All right, coming up, we have some NBA plays, and we'll go over Ravens Dolphins as our lock, as that starts up week 9 of the NFL. That is all straight ahead. You're listening to Locked On Bets. Time now to talk about FanDuel, and yep, NFL season, it is underway. We're starting week 9, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5. If it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. And what can you bet on? So many things. Ravens, Dolphins, week 9 tonight from Miami. Baltimore favorite on the road. Lamar Jackson expected to return for the Ravens. You could bet on his passing yard prop, maybe a touchdown prop for him. Tua Tagovailoa, he's coming off a win last week over the Falcons. You could check out his passing props as well. Or if you want to pass on tonight and look forward to Sunday, you can. You got the big boy in Buffalo, Chiefs and the Bills hooking up. And always fun when those teams score a lot of points. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, you can look at their player props as well. And if you want to go the MVP route, maybe Patrick Mahomes, he is the favorite to win the MVP at FanDuel. Josh Allen also up there as well. Chiefs are the Super Bowl favorites at FanDuel, and you could bet on them now. Also, the Bills in the mix, the Eagles, the Packers, the Lions. So many choices to win the respective conferences, win MVP, win Super Bowl, all of it. And you have the player props, you have the sides, the totals, the money lines, not only for NFL, but also college football. College basketball starts Monday. You have NBA and NHL underway. World Series Game 6 on Friday. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. We continue here, Locked On Bets. And that banging you hear is us banging down the book, 7-3 the last few days here on this show. And we'll look to keep it going tonight. And Lee, it is time now for one of our favorite segments, our Wrong Team Favorite.
What the
WTF.
Full disclosure, I'm based in South Florida, so is Lee. And I am not someone who just takes a team because they're here and they're the hometown team. But in this situation, I do like the Miami Heat tonight, getting 5.5 against the San Antonio Spurs on the road, only 4 games in the NBA this evening. Now, as Lee mentioned before, the Heat offensively, they have been on fire. And they torched Charlotte the other night. They put up over 140 against Memphis. They beat the Knicks already. They had a close loss to the Magic. The San Antonio Spurs with Victor Wembanyama, he's been great. He's averaging 31 points a game. San Antonio trying to move forward now from the Greg Popovich era. Going to get De'Aaron Fox back soon. He's been banged up. But San Antonio is also not beaten a lot of great opponents. They're 4-0. They beat Dallas in the opener. They have Cooper Flagg now there, and they're trying to find their way with him. But also, they beat New Orleans in overtime. New Orleans is not good. They beat Brooklyn, who is not good. And they just beat Toronto, who is not a playoff team. So they haven't really faced any competitive teams yet so far. And the Heat already beating the Knicks, which was a good win. And even at Memphis is still a good win. But here's the number I want to give you, Lee. That Last season, I know we're into this season, but last season, the Heat were 5-0 against the spread as an underdog after a game that they had an offensive rating of 125 or higher. This year, they had an offensive rating of over 125 against Memphis. Who they play next? The Knicks. They were an underdog. They won that game outright. Against Charlotte, offensive rating over 125. Now they're a dog against the Spurs. I like them tonight. Let's take the points with them against San Antonio as our wrong team favorite.
Love it. This Miami Heat team spacing has been great. They think they were tinkering with a bunch of different things in preseason, and you could see it. So he wasn't just using preseason. Eric Spoelstra was just to find out who was going to make the team. So trying to mold this team. So once they get back Tyler Hero, a couple weeks, look out. This team, they might run some teams out of the gym. But right now, like I said, San Antonio a little overrated here. And remember, Bam Adebayo, he loves to go up against these top centers. So one of the best top 2, top 3 defensive centers in the NBA. He can also guard all 5 positions. Miami, one of the few teams that switches off with every single player at every position. So I think Miami's going to be fired up. And like I said, they should be 4-0. That game that they lost against Orlando opening game, they led almost the entire game just down the stretch. They had a lot of trouble in the fourth quarter last year. But, they don't have to win this game. You're getting 4.5, 5 points. So I like the Heat here plus the points also.
And also a quick note on Orlando. They've been a bit of a mess recently. They were the best defensive team in the league, and they've been getting torched. They're playing Charlotte tonight. That's one of the 4 games in the NBA. That's not going to be the next game, though, that we're covering. As our hidden gem, we look at the Thunder and the Wizards.
To find a diamond in the rough, you need to dig a little deeper for those hidden gems.
And the Oklahoma City Thunder, the defending champion Oklahoma City Thunder, they came back to beat Sacramento a few nights ago, now facing Washington. The Wizards off just a perplexing loss to Philadelphia, a game they led most of the way, led by 16 going to the fourth. The Sixers tied it, forced overtime. Wizards led in overtime. Philadelphia ended up winning. So now the Wizards got to take on the Thunder tonight, so good luck there. But, Lee, you have a total on this game, so what is your hidden gem for the Wizards and the Thunder?
Yeah, so it's about 231 for this game. We're seeing scoring this year so far way up from any year. I expect Chet Holmgren to play in this game. The second game of Tuesday's back-to-back. I expect Washington is going to really try to push the tempo in this game. So Washington ranks 5th in pace, 4th shortest average offensive possession. So they get shots up quick at just a little over 13 seconds per possession. Wizards have shot a high percentage, which they haven't in the past, 38.1% from behind the arc. Usually, they're in the 33, 34% range here. They take good care of the basketball, which is important. If you turn the ball over 18 to 22 times a game, not going to have as many possessions. They're 9th in turnovers, which they haven't been a long time, usually in the mid to high 20s. With more possessions, the Thunder are going to score a lot of points here. Also on the Wizards, inside the arc, 9th in 2-point field goal shooting percentage here. I also expect that Oklahoma City is going to get to the free throw line more here than usual. Washington ranks 22nd in opponents' free throw rate and also just allow way too many three-pointers here. So the over is 8-2 in the 10 previous games between these two teams. And adding another layer to it, 7-0 in the last 7 games. So it's not like, those were 2-3 years ago. So as of late, these two teams just run up and down the court, get a lot of baskets, shoot a lot of threes. And I think Washington's improvement, their shot selection and hitting more shots. They have some players that aren't in their first year. They're in their second, third year, starting to pay dividends. We're going to go over 231 total points. I think it's a real strong hidden gem for us.
All right. And Washington, not so great defensively. And we'll see if Oklahoma City can take advantage of that tonight. And the Thunder have actually struggled against the spread to start the season. So we'll see also that 15.5, how that one fares. Coming up, we will take a look at the NFL as it returns tonight. That's right. The Ravens, Lamar Jackson taking on the Dolphins, and we'll see if Miami can capitalize off last week's win at Atlanta. Ravens also off a win over the Bears. Maybe that'll turn their season around. So we will talk about the lock of the day coming up next right here on Locked On Bets. Locked On Bets continues here on a Thursday. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports. And we shift our attention now back to the NFL. The Baltimore Ravens, their season not done yet. We'll see what they can do with Lamar Jackson. The Steelers falling apart a little bit. The Browns out of it. The Bengals, So Baltimore, the door's open for them if they can kind of get it going. And we'll see if their first step starts tonight in Miami against the Dolphins.
Open it, open it, open it. Lee has the key to the lock of the day.
Some momentum now for the Dolphins after they played really well against the Falcons. You got to give them that. And Tua played well. You play in Cleveland 2 weeks ago. The weather sucks, and now you're playing in a dome stadium, and you're playing against broken down Kirk Cousins. You look a little bit better. But whatever, a win's a win. Now they face Baltimore. And the Ravens will showcase Lamar Jackson. We'll see how healthy he is. I mean, you'd think he would be. He's been off for a couple games now. But, Lee, what do you like here? The Ravens nearly a touchdown favorite on the road against the Dolphins.
Yeah, that was probably the most shocking, that and the Jets winning last week. But even though Miami looked good, Atlanta looked flat as a pancake. So it takes two to tango when a team is favored by more than a touchdown and gets blown out. I mean, it was not even close. So at least in the Cincinnati game and their loss to the Jets, their offense was good. Atlanta was bad. All three facets of the game: offense, defense, and special teams. Like I said, give Miami credit, but the fact still remains: Miami remains bottom three in the NFL in pass defense. They're going to face Lamar Jackson. I liked the play calling a lot for the Ravens last week. So they stuck with the game plan. They fell behind 6-0. This Chicago team looked like they were going to maybe break it open. The defense, which had a lot of starters back, I think they had a total of 7 or 8 starters back on offense and defense. No one talked about that. Everyone was just talking about Lamar not playing last week. But Tyler Huntley, they didn't try to go for the big play. They had drives. I think all 5 of their scoring drives ranged from 4 to 8 minutes. So he played within himself. They were very smart there. Looks a lot better in that system than he did here in Miami when he filled in. Didn't look like the guy at all. Looked like he was finished. So, and he was only there, I think, less than 2 weeks. Lamar will be back. Looks like he is close to 100%. I think it was smart waiting on him here. And even at 2-5, Baltimore is still, I think, the favorite to win the AFC North. You got to do it one game at a time here. Think that Lamar Jackson is just that much of a difference maker. He's like Patrick Mahomes, buying time, that extra 2-3 seconds to find the open guy that's wide open. And that's a 25, 35-yard gain. And those kind of gains and runs for first down breaks defenses' backs here. So I think Miami's offensive line also going to give up quite a few sacks here in this game. So sometimes you got to lay it if you want to play it, even on the road. Baltimore Ravens minus 7.5 over the Dolphins here tonight, Thursday Night Football, level 1 lock.
All right, and should be a pretty fun game to start week 9, and we'll see if Mike McDaniel pick up another win. Maybe get that seat cooled off a little bit. It's a little cooler this week, but we'll see how it is moving forward. Lee, Paramount Sports. Now we've had college football the last few nights, but now really cranking up with the NFL back. Couple college football games tonight. We're going to another busy weekend. So what's going on with Paramount Sports?
Well, first of all, check our shorts. Looks like we're looking at a college game also. Everyone will be watching that Dolphins and Ravens game, but a couple college games, and I think we see something there. So check our shorts on YouTube, less than a minute long. Get a free game there, and I think I've spotted something there. So check that out. And maybe the biggest weekend in Paramount Sports history in football. Why do I say that? We rank our games for our clients when you get our phone service between 10 and 50 units. I don't have one. I don't have two. First time ever, 32 years, we have 3 40 to 50 unit selections. We probably average a 40 unit selection maybe once every 4 or 5 weeks. We are 73 and 29 lifetime since we went to that rating system about 16, 17 years ago. So not one, not two, but 3 40 to 50 unit max wagers. How can you hop on board? You go to ParamountSports.com. It's not called November. We call it Dovember. 5 weeks. It's going to start tonight, go all the way through Sunday, November 30th. 5 full weeks of action. Normally $4.97 when you go to checkout in the coupon box. Put in SAVE 100, save 100, just $397 comes out to $80 a weekend. So you want to try us out, not November. We call it Dovember, $397 with coupon code save 100. ParamountSports.com, also a big UFC card. 5 selections, $35. We hit our big 50 unit selection last week. We have a 40 unit selection there, and we're 26-12 on the 40 to 50 unit plays there in the UFC and NBA, NHL in action. So check it all out, ParamountSports.com.
And don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Locked On Bets, as well as the podcast version on Spotify or Apple, or wherever you get your podcast. We'll be back with you coming up on Friday for a lot of football picks coming up to go into the weekend. For Lee Sterling, I am Kevin Rogers. Thank you so much for tuning in to Locked On Bets right here on the Locked On Podcast Network.